So hey fantasy freaks, I hope you're all pumped up for game week 4 after the international break, and I think most of you would be thinking of using wildcard after the end of transfer window. So let's prepare a wildcard draft for game week 4. And my team looks like this, scored pretty good average points last week. So if I would be making any changes, it would go like this. I'll stick with Sanchez. They still have good fixtures to come. They face Brentford and Leicester and Crystal Palace and then Arsenal. I think they'll get some quite good. I think they'll get some clean sheets as well. So I'd stick with another keeper I would go with is Backman. Watford has quite good fixtures lining up. So let's see. Backman. They have quite mouth-watering fixtures for quite a while. Wolves, Norwich, Newcastle, and so on. So I think it would be quite good pick if I'd go with Backman. So I'd go with Backman. Let's move on to the defense. Alexander-Arnold is must, so I'll stick with him. I won't pick anyone for Alexander-Arnold, so I'd stick with him. He's returning some good points, so I'll stick with him. Eiling, I stick with him as well. As I have already mentioned in my earlier videos, Leeds also have pretty good fixtures coming up. Look at this. They have quite tricky fixtures against Liverpool and they face Newcastle, West Ham, Watford. They are quite easy fixtures, quite good fixtures. So I think they would also get some clean sheets. So I'd go with Eiling. Another defender I would go with will be Liveramento, bringing him in for Digne. Everton have not been doing quite good in the defense. They have got only one clean sheet in the last three fixtures. He'd be my fifth defender. He is quite cheap and he has started every game for Southampton, so I'd bring him in. Liveramento. He has played every minute in this campaign, so I'd go with him. Quite cheap as well. The cheapest starting defender this season, so I'd go with him. I'd offload Digne and bring in Liveramento. And I'd go with quite attacking option. I think I'd bring in Luke Shaw. I could have gone with Reece James as well, but he's facing suspension. So I think I'd go with Luke Shaw instead of Reece James. Reece James have been quite good under Thomas Tuchel, so he could be a good pick after the suspension is over. But for now, I'd go with Luke Shaw. So let me pick Luke Shaw. So my next defender is Luke Shaw, and I'd go with another quite cheap option, Marshall from Wolves. He's quite cheap and he has featured every minute this season, so I'd go with Marshall. Just look at this. He's just 4.5 and he has played every minute this season, and they also have quite good fixtures as you can see. So I'd buy him instead of Dunk. You could go with Duffy as well, or you could stick with Dunk. Brighton also have quite good fixtures as I have already showed you. So it's a pick. It depends upon you. I'd be going with Marcel. Wolves also have quite good fixtures. So I'd be going with Marcel instead of Dunk. So next up is my midfield. Let's start with the fifth midfielder, the cheapest one, Brownhill. He started the last two games and he'll be my fifth midfielder. So I'd stick with him. Quite cheap as well. An attacking midfielder. Salah is a must pick and they have quite good fixtures as well. I think I'd be offloading Bruno after the arrival of Cristiano, but I'd stick with Salah. The fixture is very good. Easy fixtures. I think Salah would return some quite attacking returns. He could either go with Jota or Mane as well, as they have good fixtures. For Bruno, it's quite a tricky one after the arrival of Cristiano. He might be off the penalty duties, and Cristiano would be the focal point of the team. So I think it's quite tricky, but I think I should go with Cristiano instead of Bruno. Later on, I'd pick Cristiano, and for now, I think I would offload Bruno. Instead of Bruno, Ferran Torres might be a quite good pick. He's been playing up front. He is midfielder, so I think Ferran Torres would be quite good. I'd be going with him. He's been playing up front for Man City. He's not that expensive as well, so I think Torres would be quite good. Torres is a good option. Since I have two midfielders from West Ham, I think I would go with Rafinha instead of Suchek. Leeds have quite good fixtures. I also mentioned this in the last video, the third game week. I would go with Rafinha again. They have good fixtures. Leeds have very good fixtures. I have already told you earlier. Look at this. Obviously, Rafinha would get some good points, so I'd go with him. Rafinha. There you go. It's not that expensive also. So my midfield would look like this. I have offloaded Bruno. That's quite a big risk, but still, I think regarding the strikers, Ivan Toney bagged the goal last week, but he has not been quite good as expected, so I'd be removing him. They are quite difficult fixtures lining up, so I think it's time to remove him. I'd go with Cristiano first up. Cristiano was back in Manchester very soon after the international duty, so I think he'll start. He has already been training with the squad, so I think he'll get a start. So I'd be going with him. He can be a good captaincy pick as well. It would be a risk, but still, you could go with Cristiano. So it's quite expensive, but I think it would be worth it. And the next up would be the cheapest option, the one I took in game week 3. Let's see his stats. Dennis, he might be on the bench this game week. I think I'd be going with 4-4-2 formation with this squad. Dennis would be on the bench from forward, Brownhill and Livramento from the midfield and defense. And in the goal, I'd go with Sanchez. I'd fancy Brighton to have a clean sheet against Brentford. So that would be my formation, and I have already told my picks in the starting 11. So that'd be it for the wildcard draft. And regarding my transfer options, I think it's time to remove Henderson since he has not featured for the past 3 game weeks. So I would be going with a cheaper option than him. I think Backman, they have good fixtures as I have already mentioned. And then I have 2 midfielders from West Ham United. I think it would be pretty good if I'd go with Ferran Torres since he has been playing up front and he has been suited quite well in Pep's system. So I think it would be good. So that's all about my transfer option this week. If you're planning to have some good transfer this week, then I think Aubameyang, Pepe could be quite good option as well. I personally think they would return some good points and they would grab easy 3 points against Norwich. So I think premium players from Arsenal would be quite good if you get them on your team as well. I think I'd go with Ferran Torres and Backman since I have 2 free transfers. And about my points last week, it was not so good. I was not satisfied. It was quite disappointing. 6 more than the average points. My captaincy pick was quite good, but there was no attacking returns from Bruno or either Benrahma or Suchek. Mope was blank too, and no clean sheet for Leeds and Brighton as well. So it was not quite good game week for me. I just scored 60 and my overall rank has dropped. It's more than 850k. And about choosing the right captain, it's very tough. If you have Cristiano in your team, he might be a very good option since I do not own him. I think choosing a captain is quite a difficult task. Most of managers would go with Cristiano if they have him on his team. It would be quite good option, I think, since they are facing Newcastle. Since I do not own him, I think Salah might be a good option as well. Since Bruno won't be taking penalties anymore, I think so. Cristiano would be on the penalty duties. He has been quite instrumental, Bruno, so it might be a good option as well. And if you have either Pepe, Aubameyang, Harry Kane, or Heung-min Son, they might be a very good option as well. So pick your captain wisely. Help you score very good points. So that's it for today, Fantasy Picks. So I hope my wildcard draft, captaincy picks, and my thoughts about transfer options might help you guys. Happy weekend.